Well, 6 years ago, my sister had to watch her favorite Disney movie get completely obliterated in live action, so I guess it's my turn. Just a quick, side note, the video file for this review kind of got messed up. Don't really know how that happened, so I'm just gonna be recording the audio for this. But yeah, so I'll just, continue on with the review.
I mean, I really don't think there's anything I could say about these live action remakes that hasn't already been said. I mean, they're lazy, cheap cash grabs, just trying to profit off of people's nostalgia, they're unnecessary, they don't understand the originals. I'm sure, a lot of people feel the same way, that I'm just getting so sick of them, but, as long as I keep making money, they're gonna keep pumping them out, now, they're not even, remaking, classics, or, I'm sorry, reimagining the classics, as they put it on Disney Plus. They call them reimagined classics. Yeah, they're not remakes, they're reimaginings, whatever that's supposed to mean. I guess it's been, 20 years since Lilo and Stitch came out, but, Moana? You just made that movie, 7 years ago! What? And, it's just, I'm just so tired of all of this, and, obviously, this one is particularly painful for me because, if you guys have watched my other videos, you would know that Little Mermaid is, not only my favorite Disney movie, it's one of my favorite movies of all time in general. Ariel's my favorite Disney princess. I absolutely loved this movie as a kid. I just really love the story of, this girl who, the surface, everyone's telling her no, but she still, follows her heart and still just wants to, does what she wants, and had this, rebellious spirit, and, I just loved all that when I was a kid. I love the music. Obviously, a lot of my fondness of the movie does come from childhood nostalgia, but of course, even as an adult, there's just so much to appreciate about the original. The animation is beautiful, the music is spectacular, and now we have this remake, of course. Pretty inevitable that, considering all the other remakes that they were doing, they were gonna do Little Mermaid eventually. I'm guessing the reason why it took this one a little longer to come out was because it was challenging, having a lot of the movie underwater that involved a lot of CGI. They did it. Looks terrible, but they did it. I guess if I am gonna talk about this movie, I'm pretty much contractually obligated to talk about the, quote-unquote controversy surrounding the movie, which is obviously the fact that they cast an actress who was black to play Ariel, and, it's just so stupid. I don't care. Why do people get mad at this? It's so dumb. There's only two situations where I think that the race of an actor playing a character matters. For one, if you're portraying, a real person, obviously you're doing, a biopic about somebody, you probably want to get the race right. Either that, or if it has some, it plays some significant part in, in building the character. So, for example, America Chavez, one of her parents was Hispanic, obviously, but one of her mother that gave birth to her was also black in the comics, and that played as much of a big of a role as her cultural identity as being Hispanic, which was why I wasn't super thrilled with the fact that they cast an actress who was not Afro-Latina to play America Chavez. But other than that, here, I saw some people saying, oh, well, the Little Mermaid is a Danish fairy tale, so why would they cast an actress as black? But, that doesn't, you wouldn't know that just from watching the Disney movie. Ariel being Danish has nothing to do with, anything. It's just so dumb. It doesn't play any role in the story. So, no, I don't care about the race of the character. If the actors can play the part, they can play the part. What I do care about is the design of the character, and I think pretty much everyone can agree that Ariel's red hair is, the most iconic part of her design. The second you see that red hair, you know it's Ariel, and, her hair isn't, ginger, a redhead, it's, fire engine red. That is not a naturally occurring hair color. And here in the remake, it's like, they dyed it, like, orange, like a light orangish at best. Like, why couldn't have you just dyed her hair like the Fire Engine Red in the movie? Like, I've seen, like, plenty of, like, fan art, fan edits of, Halle Bailey with the red hair that look way better than anything we got in the actual movie. So, like, I really don't know why they couldn't have just done that. And it's interesting, too, because the reason why Ariel ended up having that hair color in the original was, so she was originally going to be blonde, but A, they already had two blonde Disney princesses, and B, it ended up not looking so good, like the color ended up not looking so good in some of the underwater scenes where the lighting was darker. But, you know, of course, here in the live-action version, the cinematography is trash, so every scene looks like that, so it wouldn't really have made a difference anyways. But yeah, I mean, all in all, look, I just think this controversy is dumb. I don't think it matters. I don't understand why people care. But, I mean, at the end of the day, it really doesn't even matter what side of this argument you're on, because, you know, the controversy is, it's gonna just stir up more publicity for the movie, and it's just gonna get more people to see it anyway, so, you know, either way, you're still just a tool in the endless capital system that is the Walt Disney Corporation. Yeah, so, I guess I'll, just start off just kind of just going through the movie piece by piece, just kind of like talking about what they changed and, you know, all that. So the movie starts off very bizarrely, to be honest. They have this scene where, like, so they have, like, a quote from the original Hans Christian Andersen story, because I guess, you know, whole movies that start off with a quote kind of sounding important or whatever, and then, like, we see, like, a tale of something that we're supposed to think is a mermaid, and they have, like, this very, like, you know, whimsical fantasy sounding music, and it just cut very abruptly by these people, like, only throwing harpoons at it, like, almost, like, comically, like, I don't understand, like, what the tone they were going for was, if we were supposed to find that funny, or if it was, like, unintentionally funny, but, yeah, it was very bizarre, and then, like, we see, like, Prince Eric and, like, these, his crew are, like, trying to, like, throw harpoons and, like, catch this thing, which ends up being, like, a dolphin or something, and not actually a mermaid. And yeah, then we get, like, some, like, boring exposition about, like, Prince Eric, and they, like, made some changes where I guess he's, like, adopted now or something, like, he wasn't actually born a prince, and, like, they found him in, like, a shipwreck or something. I don't know what that's supposed to add, just seemed like unnecessary bullshit to me, but I mean, you know, these remakes are pretty good at adding unnecessary bullshit that you don't need. It feels like they're trying to, like, solve, like, plot holes or something, but then they just end up creating, like, way more problems and, like, just creating a bunch of, like, boring exposition that nobody wants to sit through. And then, of course, you know, we cut to, like, the actual underwater ocean kingdom. And so they got rid of the Daughters of Triton song from the original, because, for whatever reason, so first of all, so in the original, all of the Ariel sisters, their names all begin with A. That was kind of like the joke, because it was supposed to be like, you know, Atlantica, like this underwater kingdom, you know, it starts with an A, so like all the sisters' names starts with an A. They changed those. They, like, gave her sisters, like, all these, like, random names that don't start with A, so, like, I guess the song just didn't really make sense anymore, and, like, we aren't really introduced to them through, like, the concert that Sebastian's holding. Like, instead, like, they're meeting up for some, like, I don't know, like, Coral Moon thing. Like, it's not, like, a concert. I guess, like, they, like, reference the fact that the sisters are supposed to represent, like, the 7 seas or something, so I guess, like, each of the sisters is supposed to, like, rule over one of the 7 seas, but, like, they don't really make any mention of, like, Ariel having any responsibility for ruling over one of the seas or anything, so I don't really know what the point of that was. And then, obviously, you know, they have the gag where all the sisters are there, but then also Ariel's not there, and they don't know where she is, and, of course, we have Triton, who's played by Javier Bardem, and he is just so out of place in this. Like, every scene he's in, he looks like he has no idea what the hell. Like, he just walked onto the wrong set and has no idea what the hell he's doing there. Like, it's just so funny to me. Like, I was just cracking up every time, like, he was on screen, because, like, his performance was just so bizarre. And then, of course, Sebastian, the creepy-ass, realistic-looking crab that looks terrifying, and then everybody was making fun of in the trailer. Of course, he's played by Daveed Diggs, and he does not sound anything like Sebastian. He sounds like he's trying to, like, the voice he's doing, he sounds like he's trying to do an impression of Sebastian and failing miserably. Like, it's bad. It's not good. And then, of course, you know, they have the scene from the original where Ariel is exploring a shipwreck, with Flounder, who also looks terrifying, because, you know, he's realistic. Like, again, like, that's the other thing about, like, why these live-action movies just fundamentally do not work, is that, like, there is a reason that these movies were animated in the first place. Like, because, you know, in cartoon form, in animation form, like, you can have, like, talking fish and crabs and stuff. Like, you can make that look cute in animation. In live action, it looks fucking terrifying. Like, you think I actually want to see, like, a realistic-looking fish with dead fish eyes staring at me? No, I don't want to see that. Why would you think I want to see that? Like, what is this? Like, Flounder, he just looks so terrifying. He just has this, like, you know, they designed him to look like a real fish, but they tried to also keep, like, some of the colors that they had in the animated form, and, like, it just looks so bizarre and just not natural and weird, and, like, it just, like, I remember there was that, like, that thing where, like, there was that meme going on where somebody made, like, it wasn't, like, the actual live-action Flounder, but it was, like, somebody, like, made, like, a fan design of, like, what a live-action Flounder could look like, and everybody was, like, making fun of how bad it looked. You know what? I actually prefer that to what we actually got. I mean, yeah, say what you want about that. At least he has some expression in his face. Like, this one just has this, like, creepy dead fish eyes, and just not fun to watch, not fun to look at. But yeah, and then I guess, I'll just generally talk about Halle Bailey as Ariel. She is a much better singer than she is an actress, I'll put it that way. I mean, she has a beautiful voice, but, I mean, when it comes to, like, actually, like, saying the lines and, like, expressing the you know, the emotion of the character, like, it just doesn't work. And it's such a, like, a shame, especially, like, at the point where, like, Ariel loses her voice, because, you know, in the original, like, one of the things that I absolutely loved the most about Ariel in the original was just how expressive she was, especially, like, when she comes out of the water and she's, like, seeing the human world for the first time. She's, like, exploring the village, and you see her face just, like, light up, and she has this, like, really, like, expressive face, and, like, you kind of have to do that, especially when Ariel loses her voice, because that's the only way that, like, you can convey what the character is feeling, because she can't talk. And, like, this actress just does not know how to pull that off. Like, you don't get those big expressions with her. Like, when she's looking around like a human world, she looks, like, mildly amused at best. Like, you don't get those, like, because, like, Ariel in the original, like, her design was inspired by, like, Hayao Miyazaki. Like, you know, the anime girls have these, like, really, like, big eyes and these really big expressions, and, like, obviously, like, you know, in live action, like, you can't really get that, you know, animated cartoon look, but, like, even still, like, with a good actor, like, you could still get a lot of those, like, big expressions and big emotions, and again, like, this actress just doesn't know how to pull that off. I mean, I don't think she's really, I don't know if she's acted in anything else before, and then she might have been, like, a couple things, but I know that she was primarily a singer. So, in that regard, like, I do wish that they would have gotten, like, an actual actor to play this role, because, like, you know, you just don't get any of those, like, emotions, like, with the scenes. Like, you know, when she sees Prince Eric, like, she doesn't look like she's in love. Like, in the original, like, you know, Ariel, when, like, she sees Eric, like, you see, like, her face just, like, soften as she's, like, looking at him, and, like, again, like, you just don't get any of that in this version. Like, you can't really tell what she's even, like, thinking or supposed to be feeling, like, when she sees Ariel. Like, it's only, like, after she, like, goes back underwater and she starts, like, talking about him to, like, Flounder and Sebastian and stuff, that, like, you even get any, like, sense that she's, you know, like, in love with him. So, like, it just, like, you wouldn't really get that unless you'd seen the original anyway. But yeah, so then of course we have this scene where Ariel's exploring, and obviously they have the shark chase, and then she finds out she's late for the thing, of course, after she meets Scuttle, and yeah, so they changed Scuttle. So in the original, obviously Scuttle was a seagull, and she went up to the shore to see him, and here Scuttle is a female character voiced by Awkwafina, because I guess she's supposed to be funny or something. And Scuttle isn't a seagull now, she's a diving bird of some sort, because they wanted to change it so that Ariel had actually never even been to the surface until she went to the ship to see Prince Eric, and, like, that is just such a bizarre change to me, because it's like, if she's never even seen the surface before, then how does she even know that she wants to go there? Like, it's just so dumb. Like, I just don't get it. Like, because in the original, like, you see her, like, going up and she's, like, collecting all this human stuff, and she's, like, going to the surface and asking questions about it, even though, like, she's not supposed to be on the surface, and that was her whole thing. She was rebellious, but in this version, I guess she needs to be a Mary Sue, so, oh no, she would never disobey her father, even though, in the original, her being rebellious and breaking the rules is what made her interesting. And, like, another thing, too, is that, I saw, like, Halle Bailey and the director and a lot of people, saying stuff about how, like, in this version, this is the more nuanced version, because, oh no, this version isn't just about, like, her going up to the surface to be with a guy, it's about her freedom and her independence, and I'm like, what, the original wasn't? Like, there was only, okay, I cannot stand when people, like, say that, like, The Little Mermaid is just all about, like, this girl just, like, changing herself for a guy. Like, no, I will fight you on this. Like, did you even watch the original? Like, that whole, like, part of your world song sequence, like, that was all before she even met Prince Eric. Like, she wanted to go to the surface and be a human, like, way before, like, she even met Prince Eric. Like, did you watch the original movie? Like, what are you talking about? And, like, I just get so mad when people, like, make that argument. Like, that, to me, is just such a shallow interpretation of the film, and, like, like, my hope would be that if you were going to adapt the movie, that you would at least have enough respect for the source material to recognize that that's a shallow reading of the movie. But no, like, Halle Bailey, they're all just repeating these same bullshit talking points that all these people are saying, and then on top of that, they have the audacity to say, oh no, this is the better version, this is the nuanced version. Like, what, fuck you! Like, what are you talking about? Like, it's just, oh god, I hate it so much. I fucking hate this mentality that the people have going into these, like, live-action remakes where, like, saying that, oh, we need to fix the original version. Like, this is the better version. Like, I just clearly showing that you don't have any respect for the original source material, and, like, okay, look, I understand that there are some things in some of the earlier Disney movies that are racially insensitive, or kind of offensive, or just don't really hold up very well anymore. But the solution to that is not to try and replace these movies with some horribly put together remake in a medium that these films were not even intended for in the first place. Like, you acknowledge those mistakes, you learn from those mistakes, you say, yeah, this movie has some stuff that might be a little problematic today, but it still has, a lot of, worth watching, just cinematically, it's a classic, it still has some things that are worth watching, but some parents might hesitate because of some things. Like, it's not that simple. Like, you can't just try to replace it with this horrible remake that, like, you can't, I'm sorry, I'm just very fed up, very tired, and, you don't understand how much will it took to stop myself from, like, yelling at the screen. Like, I was sure that, like, at one point I was just gonna lose it and they were gonna have to, like, kick me out of the theater. Yeah, no, like, I don't agree with the take that they're going for this movie where, like, Ariel has to be, like, fixed or something because, you know, in the original, like, all she wanted was this guy. Like, no, that's not all she wanted. Like, she already wanted to go to the service. She already wanted her independence and her freedom way before she met Prince Eric. And the ironic thing is that with this change that they're making, where Ariel has never even been to the service before she sees Prince Eric, like, now they're kind of making it seem like the only reason she's going to the surface is to be with Prince Eric, because, like, if she'd never even seen the human world, if she'd never even been to the surface before she meets Prince Eric, then, like, yeah, it kind of seems like you're kind of making it seem like that's the only reason that she was going to the surface world and wanted to become a human. So, like, you know, you're kind of working against your own argument here. I mean, it's a bullshit argument, I would say, nonetheless, but even still, like, that's just such a dumb change. And, like, there, you know, I saw the director, Rob Marshall, was saying, like, oh, well, we made it change because it makes it, like, more thrilling when she goes up to the surface for the first time. It's better storytelling. Like, fuck you. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, it's just so dumb. Like, these people are just so far up their own asses that, like, you know, they don't understand, they don't have any respect for the original material, they don't understand what made the original work, and, like, if you're just going into the mindset of, like, yeah, we need to fix the original and make it better, and, like, not look at, like, what actually made the original work or why people like the original, then yeah, of course it's gonna be bad. Like, adaptations work when you have love and respect for the source material, and I don't get any of that here. But yeah, so they made this, like, dumb change where Scuttle goes under the water now. She's a diving bird, and, you know, of course, have the thing where Flounder, like, lets it slip that, not that she went to the surface, because that's not what they're doing here, but, like, something about, like, I don't even remember, was it something about, like, Ariel, like, he just did, like, King Triton just didn't like that she was, like, talking to, like, a bird or something, or collecting human stuff, like, I don't even know. And then, of course, you know, we have, the Part of Your World song sequence, and, again, Halle Bailey has a beautiful voice. It's not a bad rendition at all, but, again, because I think that Halle Bailey is a much better singer than she is an actress, so particularly at the end, the sequence where, like, the part where she's, like, you know, out of the sea, wish I could be, like, she almost, like, in the original, like, her voice, like, her voice, like, falters, and she almost kind of, like, stops singing entirely, because, you know, at the end of the song, like, it's kind of, like, it's a sad moment, almost, where, like, Ariel, she's, like, reaching her hand up to the surface and kind of realizing that, like, I don't think I'm ever going to get what I want, like, I don't think I'm ever going to, you know, be able to be a part of the surface, and, like, it's, like, a sad moment, so, like, her voice almost kind of, like, falters a little bit, and she's almost kind of, like, speaking instead of singing, rather. And, of course, in this version, she's just, like, you know, riffing away, and, like, yeah, that sounds nice, but, like, you're not conveying the emotion that is being expressed in a song, like, you know, like, and this is a problem, you know, it was a problem in the Lion King remake, you know, the Aladdin remake as well, like, where it seems like they're just more interested in, like, showing off, like, how good of a vocalist their performers are, and it's like, I don't care how good of a singer your people are, like, if that were all I cared about, then I would just stream your music on Spotify, but when I go to see a movie, I'm here to watch a character experience emotions, like, I'm not just interested in, like, hearing your performers belt out songs, I want to feel emotions with those characters, and I'm not getting any of that in this version. Yeah, and, again, like, the CG, like, the lighting all just looks awful, it looks so bad, like, you know, this has been a problem, especially, like, the lighting, not only just with, like, the remakes, but also with a lot of, like, the Marvel movies now, where, like, the lighting is just so bad, and it's just so obvious to show, like, to, like, try to, like, hide the flaws and how god-awful the CGI looks, like, the CG looks so fake, everything looks fake, like, nothing actually looks real, like, nothing ever made me feel like I was actually underwater at any point, like, the CGI animals underwater all look terrible. It all looks like shit. The cinematography looks like shit. And, you know, it's just, I mean, you come to expect it at this point, but, like, it's still just so disgusting to look at. And I remember seeing this, like, post on, like, Facebook or something where some people were like, you know, like, oh, I can't believe, like, it's so dumb people criticize the live action for looking, like, dark and gray. The original looked like that, too, and they have these, like, very obviously cherry-picked frames from scenes that are supposed to look, like, dark and scary because it's something either, like, scary or solemn was happening. Obviously, the majority of the original did not look like that. The majority was bright and colorful because it was supposed to be fun to look at. This is not fun to look at. This is disgusting. And, yeah, and of course, so then, you know, of course, that leads into the scene where, Ariel goes up to the surface for the first time, because it's better storytelling, where she sees Prince Eric for the first time, and, like, you know, like I said, like, she, like, hears him, like, talking about how they need to, like, reach out to, like, other islands or other cultures or something, whatever, and I guess that makes her, like, fall in love with him or something. But, like, her face, like, you couldn't tell it from, like, her facial expression, like, she doesn't look like she's in love at any point while she's watching him. And, of course, then she saves him, and I guess I'll briefly, just mention the actor that's playing, Prince Eric, Jonah Hauer-King. He's fine. I mean, he has about roughly the same amount of personality as Eric did in the animated movie. I mean, you know, he does a decent job. I don't really have any complaints about his performance. But yeah, then obviously the you know, if you've seen the original, you know, the ship, I don't think it gets, like, struck by lightning in this version. I think, like, it just catches on fire, and, like, anyway, the ship gets destroyed, and of course Ariel saves him. And then he hears her singing, and then he doesn't know who she is, and then he wants to find her. And all that, and of course then, like, you know, Sebastian is scared that King Triton is gonna find out, and so then that leads to the Under the Sea, song sequence. You know, one of the, you know, most inventive, colorful scenes in the original looks absolutely terrible in this version. Like, again, it's just a mess of just absolutely atrocious CGI, and, like, in the, like, original scene where they, like, in the song where they're, like, mentioning all the different fish, like, the carp play the harp, you know, and you know, all the different lyrics for, like, all the different fish that he's naming playing the instruments, like, and, like, in the original, like, you would actually, like, see all the different fish, like, playing the instruments as he's naming them. Like, they don't do that here, I guess, because, you know, it's not realistic looking for a fish to be playing an instrument, even though it's totally realistic looking for mermaids to exist and fish to talk. This is so stupid. Yeah, like, that's another thing about, like, these live action remakes is that, like, they're trying to look, like, more realistic, but it's like, guys, you're adapting a fairy tale. Like, you're not gonna get realism in this. Like, so why bother? And yeah, it's just really dumb. It's really bad. I mean, as far as, like, the cinematography goes, the only thing I really like about this one is that, you can get, like, the underwater, like, fluorescent, like, neon colors. Like, they do that, they have a small bit in the Under the Sea sequence where they show that, like, the glowing jellyfish and stuff. And then they have, like, Ursula's tentacles later on, like, they see them, like, glowing fluorescently, like, that I thought was kind of cool, because, like, and that's also, like, pretty difficult to do in 2D animation. But other than that, no, I absolutely hated the cinematography in this. That was, like, the one thing I thought, okay, that's kind of cool, but everything else just looks terrible. And, you know, then, of course, we get the scene where King Triton finds out that Ariel, oh, I should mention in the Undersea sequence that they changed it so that Ariel starts singing along with Sebastian in it, which is kind of weird because it's, like, the whole song is kind of, like, against what she believes in. Like, the whole song is about how, like, she should stay underwater and not go up to the surface. So I don't really get why Ariel is, like, singing along to this, because, like, she doesn't agree with what he's saying. So it's like, why is she singing along to this? I just thought that was really weird. And yeah, then we, of course, get the scene where, King Triton finds out about what she did, and he destroys the grotto, and, like, it just doesn't have any of the same, like, emotional impact, where, like, it just, in the original, like, you see, like, close-ups of, like, you know, the Triton, like, destroying all of the different artifacts that she has in the trove, and, like, here, like, this version, like, it's just shot very weirdly, like, you don't really, like, actually see, like, this stuff breaking as much, like, you don't, like, you mostly just get, like, a couple, like, shots of him just, like, pointing his Triton at stuff, and, like, it just doesn't have anywhere near the same, like, emotional impact at all, and it just feels so empty. And I forget where this the scene where the song that Prince Eric sings, I forget where exactly that came in, but they do add a song where Prince Eric does sing about Ariel. It's not the one from the Broadway musical. They have some additional songs, but they're all new ones. They're not ones that they're not, like, one additional ones from the musical at all. And, like, they're not terrible, except for the one where Scuttle and Sebastian rap, but I'll get to that. Like, they're not bad, they're written by Lin-Manuel Miranda, but, like, mixed in with the originals, like, they really just kind of clash. Like, they sound very out of place. Like, I guarantee that, like, even if you had never seen the original, like, even if you knew nothing about the original movie, like, you would be able to pick out which songs were the new ones. They really stand out. And yeah, the song that Prince Eric sings, again, Jonah Howard-King, he has a nice voice, he's not bad, but the song just kind of felt the same as, like, Evermore in the Beauty and the Beast remake, where, like, it just kind of seemed pointless, and, like, it kind of feels like the only reason they added it was to try and get a Best Original Song nomination at the Oscars, like, just kind of him, like, running around on the ocean and singing about this girl that he's looking for, and, like, it just doesn't really add anything. I mean, again, it's not terrible, but, like, you could do without it. Just kind of, you know, adding unnecessary runtime to the movie, in my opinion. I mean, it's cool that we get to hear Prince Eric sing, but, again, if they were gonna add new songs, I wish that they would have just used the ones from, the Broadway musical. And then, of course, we get Ursula, played by Melissa McCarthy, who is surprisingly not bad in this. Like, I was not thrilled at all when they announced that they cast her as Ursula. Like, I thought that was a terrible casting choice, but no, she's actually not bad in this. I mean, is she ever going to compare with Pat Carroll? Absolutely not, but, I mean, her singing is actually not bad, and then she does a pretty good job getting the voice of Ursula down, and, like, you know, her mannerisms and everything. That was the one thing I was like, I'm actually kind of okay with this. But yeah, then we get, you know, The Poor Unfortunate Souls, one of the best songs in the movie. Of course, they cut out some of the songs that she sings, some of the lyrics that she sings in the original song, where she's, like, talking about, like, why it's actually good that, like, Ariel, like, loses her voice, you know, she's like, no, the men on Earth don't like a lot of blabber, I guess, because, I don't know, they thought that was, like, not a feminist lyric or something, even though, like, this is the villain saying that, so we're not really supposed to agree with her anyway, but, like, whatever. But yeah, and then they also changed it where, like, instead of, like, having Ariel sign a contract, they have her, like, rip out one of her own scales, and you can, like, see, like, the blood coming from her tail, and, like, it's very bizarrely gruesome, but I guess it was to, like, fix the plot hole where, like, if Ariel could, like, write and sign her name, then why didn't she just, like, write to Prince Eric to explain what was happening or something? Like, I don't know, it's stupid, like, but, like, whatever. Of course, then she makes a deal with Ursula, and, of course, they did include the fact that Ursula was Ariel's aunt. I think they did also put that in the Broadway musical, but, that wasn't in the animated movie. I think that was just because, like, due to, like, time constraints, they didn't really have time to, like, add that whole, plot thread in, but, yeah, Ursula is supposed to be Ariel's aunt. I mean, I guess that it does make sense that I guess it kind of does make sense in sort of like how Ursula gets kind of tricks Ariel into trusting her, like, you know, telling her that like she's her aunt and stuff, like that family connection. I think is kind of how I guess it does kind of make sense how she's able to kind of like trick her into, you know, having that trust with her. So again, like that was a change that I wasn't like angry about. Like I thought it was fine. And then, of course, you know, we get her going to the surface, and then, you know, Prince Eric takes her in, and with Prince Eric, they added this, like, weird thing where, like, I think I mentioned this earlier, where they added where, like, Eric's adopted, and then, like, his mom is, like, afraid of the sea gods or something, so, like, I think there's, like, supposed to be, like, a parallel between Eric and Ariel, where they both have, like, parents who are afraid of, like, the other's world or whatever, but, like, I mean, we don't really explore that very much. With Eric's mom, it just kind of comes out of nowhere, and it's very weird. And, yeah, I just don't get why they put that in there, but whatever. And then, like, of course, they, you know, have her, like, exploring the human world, and, oh yeah, they also added this other thing where, like, Ursula secretly casts this other spell where Ariel forgets that she's supposed to make the prince kiss her. I don't know why, I don't know what that was supposed to add, it's very bizarre, but, like, every time that, like, Sebastian, like, talks about, like, you have to, like, we only got 3 days to, like, get the prince to kiss you, like, she starts, like, looking like she's like enchanted to like forget about it, so she just starts like looking like very like dazed, and like it's really weird. I really don't know why they added that. That just seemed like very bizarre and very unnecessary. So then we have you know, scenes with Eric and Ariel bonding. You know, again, one of the criticisms that people had with the original was that, like, you know, Eric and Ariel just, like, falling in love just seemed kind of like it was kind of out of nowhere or whatever, and, like Ariel just kind of, like, sees him, and then suddenly, like, she's in love with him with, like, you know, that never bothered me because, A, fairy tale, and B, like, we do get some really adorable scenes of them bonding later on, so that didn't really bother me all that much. I feel like they are kind of trying to, like, make up for that here, so, like, we get more scenes of, like, Eric talking with Ariel and stuff, and, like, again, like, it's nice, like, the dialogue isn't, like, anything spectacular, but, like, it is nice to see them, like, getting to know each other a little better. And then, of course, we have the scene for, like, Ariel and Eric are, like, out exploring the village and stuff. And then, of course, you know, the Kiss the Girl song sequence as well. And, like, that's all pretty standard, pretty par for the course. You know, if you've seen the original, you pretty much know more or less what you're gonna get with those. And then, of course, they have the thing where, Ursula comes up disguised as a human to try and trick Eric into marrying her instead of Ariel, and she has, like, the shell where she has Ariel's voice caption in it, and so they have that whole sequence. Then we get to the song, where, if you've seen the original, you know, like, Scuttle hears that the prince is going to marry this girl like he found, and obviously Scuttle assumes that it's Ariel. So in this version, when Scuttle goes to tell Ariel about this, they have a rap song called Scuttlebutt, where, like, Scuttle starts rapping, and then Sebastian starts rapping too, and it was just the most cringe-inducing thing I've ever had to sit through in my life. Like, look, I love Lin-Manuel Miranda, but, like, some of the stuff that he's been writing lately, like, he comes across like that dad that's trying to sound cool, like the dorky dad that's, like, trying to sound cool, but, like, he just ends up sounding really lame, and, like, that's kind of the vibe I was getting here. I was just kind of, like, just sitting there, like, what am I watching right now? Like, easily the worst song in the movie, definitely the worst new song in the movie. Could have definitely gone without seeing that ever. Don't ever want to watch that again. Oh yeah, and they also got rid of the Le Poisson song, Unforgivable. They did that scene where the bit of slapstick we get with the chef trying to catch Sebastian. That whole sequence gone. Don't know why. Guess they just don't like slapstick comedy or humor in general, because, you know, the jokes in this movie aren't funny. Even the jokes that they kept from the original, the way they delivered them, they're not funny. So, like, one of my favorite, like, jokes in the original where we see, like, Ariel, like, combing her hair with a fork, and, like, everybody's looking at her like, what are you doing? Like, they completely botched that up. Like, in this version, instead of, like, a scene where she's, like, sitting down and, like, supposed to be at the dining table with, Prince Eric and Grisby in this version, she's, like, out in the market, and she gets food with a vendor, played by Jodie Benson, like, the cameo of the actress that did the voice of the original Ariel, and, like, she's like, oh, I think you need this, and she hands her a fork, and then she, like, and of course Ariel starts, like, combing her hair with it, and, like, it just doesn't hit the same. Like, you know, in the original, like, the animation, like, the expressions on the characters' faces, like, the timing, everything about that was just so funny, and here, like, it's just not funny. It's not the same. And, yeah, and then that whole thing, God, I'm losing my train of thought. I'm so sorry. I'm just really tired of all this. Yeah, so then of course, you know, we have the thing where, the Ariel breaks the spell where the shell necklace that Ursula's keeping her voice in, is broken, so Ariel gets her voice back, but it's too late, and then she turns into a human, and all that, and, in this version, like, when Ursula takes her back and, like, Triton decides to, like, give up his, you know, his trident and, like, his crown for Ariel, like, Ursula, like, just straight up, like, cause, like, in the original, like, she basically just turned him into one of the, like, she turned, like, all of the mermaids in the original who, like, went to her but couldn't, like, pay for her spells or whatever, she, like, turned them into these, like, worm things in her grotto, and, like, here she, like, straight up, like, disintegrates Triton pretty much, and, like, for a second I thought they actually, like, were gonna kill him off in this version, which is really dark. They end up not doing that, but, like, it's still just very, like, gruesome and this really dark turn out of nowhere. And of course we get the climax where, like, Ursula becomes big, and the CGI of Ursula, like, becoming this giant sea monster is easily the worst looking thing in the movie. I mean, like, the majority of the movie looks terrible, and the CGI is bad, but, like, this looked especially atrocious. And they also changed the ending of the climax, where instead of Eric being the one who like steers the ship into, like, the sharp end of the ship into Ursula to kill her, they changed it so that Ariel's the one who does that, which is weird because it's like, how the hell does she know how to steer a ship? Like, maybe it would have made sense if they had a scene of, like, Eric, like, actually, like, teaching her how to, like, you know, navigate her ship, whatever, but they don't have that in this version, so it's like, how does she know how to do that? Yeah, and then, of course, you know, Ursula is, like, dead, and instead of, like, because they changed it so that, like, Triton gets disintegrated, but then, like, when Ursula dies, like, the Triton just magically brings him back, so of course, like, he doesn't see any of the final battle, so, like, instead of the original version where, like, Triton is able to see that Eric was, like, helping her, and that Ariel's just like, oh yeah, like, he was with me, Eric was with me and he helped me, like, she just has to, like, tell him that, like, he was the one, like, in the original, like, him, like, Triton, like, seeing that Eric was the one who helped, like, it was just more impactful of him, like, realizing, oh, okay, maybe all humans aren't bad, and, like, this version of her is just like, oh yeah, by the way, Eric helped me, like, it just doesn't have the same impact. And then they add this thing where, like, instead of just, like, Triton just immediately deciding, like, okay, like, Ariel's clearly happier on the surface, she's totally happier with this guy who, you know, helped us out and helped save me and saved her, and, you know, I realized that the human world isn't really all that bad after all, so I'm gonna let you be a human, like, they have this, they make this unnecessary change where he's like, oh, good, now you're back in the ocean where you belong. They have this, like, brief, like, moment where, like, Ariel has to be still in the ocean, but then later on, Triton's like, okay, I guess I'll make you a human. Again, unnecessary change, like, just unnecessary padding. Like, you know, the original was tight. It was, like, an hour and a half. Like, here they added, like, an additional, like, a half hour of just pointless shit that we don't need. And then, of course, you get the ending where, you know, Ariel turns into a human, and I guess the mom of Eric's mom isn't afraid of the sea gods anymore, or whatever that was about. And yeah, like, one of the things they just fundamentally messed up, in my opinion, was the relationship of Ariel and her dad, Triton, particularly because I think Javier Bardem is just so out of place in this, and, like, I don't think he was the right pick for this role. But yeah, like, that whole thing, like, again, like, one of the criticisms that people have of the original is that it's just, like, Ariel just, like, whining until, like, she gets what she wants, and, like, again, like, I still think that that's just a really, like, shallow and, like, unfair, you know, opinion of the original. Like, I think that when I watch the original, I feel like it's about Ariel and her dad, like, kind of having to teach each other. Like, they both kind of have to learn from each other. Like, yes, Ariel is, you know, very headstrong, and she doesn't always, like, think about, like, the consequences of her actions, but at the same time, you know, in the original, Triton is portrayed as this very, like, closed-minded person who doesn't want to listen. You know, he doesn't take the time to understand, like, why the human world is something that's so important to Ariel. He's just like, no, I don't care, I'm not gonna listen, I don't want you going there. And, like, we see that, like, especially in the scene where, like, he destroys the grotto, like, she's actually kind of, like, scared of him, too, so, like, it's not really, like, the healthiest father-daughter relationship, and I think that, you know, it's about, you know, Ariel, like, yes, Ariel has to, you know, learn, that, you know, sometimes, you know, sometimes she doesn't listen to her father, but at the same time, like, her father, it's also about her father learning, oh yeah, I should take the time to listen to my kids and understand, like, what they feel, and, you know, and not just, like, you know, shutting them out and just saying, you know, my way or the highway. I feel like it's just more nuanced than that, of, like, that relationship of them learning from each other. I think you just don't really get that here, because you don't really get that, you know, father-daughter relationship in the remake as well. And yeah, it's just, like, the thing that, like, the fundamental reason why these live-action movies don't work is that they don't make me feel anything, aside from just contempt for the corporate capitalist machine that's just pumping this garbage out. Like, you know, when I watch the original Disney anime movies, like, I feel things. I feel bad when Ariel's, you know, collection in the grotto gets destroyed. I feel happy when you see her, like, out exploring the human world. I feel bad when Mufasa dies. You know, I feel happy when I see Belle and the Beast bonding, and when I watch these live-action remixes, I don't feel anything. Like, they make me feel absolutely nothing at all, and that is why these just fundamentally do not work. Like, no one is gonna wanna watch, like, you know, like, years from now, like, no one is gonna wake up and say, hey, I really wanna watch The Lion King 2019, or, like, I really wanna watch, you know, Beauty and the Beast 2017. No, the originals are classics because they are timeless. They knew how to get a story across without wasting our time, and making us feel things for these characters. And these remakes just don't understand how to do that. And, like, you know, again, like, it's pretty much pointless to be, like, to sit here and be angry at these remakes because, you know, everybody has already, you know, said everything that can be said about these remakes, and, you know, it's not like it's gonna matter because they're just gonna keep making them as, you know, as long as they make money, but, like, it just, you know, no one is going to remember these remakes at all, not nearly as much as they remember the originals. And it's just so fascinating to watch Disney just so spectacularly misunderstand and miss the mark about what made these movies so worthwhile and why they're so beloved. Just over and over again, like, all of these remakes, like, all of them, and just make these, like, they just make, like, the worst possible changes, like, the worst possible decisions, like, you don't even, how can you not understand your own films? How can you not understand why people like these? And, like, it's just so depressing, honestly, and, like, I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm just so done with all of this. So, all in all, do I recommend this movie? Absolutely not. I'm actually begging you, please do not go see this. Don't give them your money. The only reason I did is because I wanted to get this review out. I mean, I feel dirty that I gave them my money, to be honest, but again, like, I just wanted to get this review out as soon as I could. But yeah, like, you know, just watch the original. The original is a classic. The original is spectacular. Like, it will give you everything that you're looking for in the shortest amount of time, because it doesn't waste time with stupid exposition or stupid, pointless, unnecessary songs where we have Scuttle and Sebastian rapping, which absolutely nobody wanted to see. And, yeah, so, like, it's just, you know, I mean, what else did you think I was gonna say about it, honestly? Like, I'm tired. So yeah, that's my two-piece, not my two-piece, what, my 2 cents? What, words, English, I don't know what I'm saying anymore. Okay, I'm tired, I need to finish this, yeah, don't see this movie, bye.